Hello AOS fans, Robin here with my going to do a deck run through for you of my Orruk deck, and this is for mine and Pete's Orruk versus Orruk mirror match. You'll probably have already seen Pete's, and so this is my response. I haven't seen Pete's, so I don't know what's in it. I'm playing, well, you'll see what I'm going to play in this. It's always interesting to try and think of different ways to play. Orruk versus Orruk is an interesting proposition. It could be a bit of a war of attrition in the middle of the battle of the field. That's kind of what I'm going for. I'm hoping this will give me the edge. So let's have a look. So my first card out is, and you'll notice immediately that I have a score immediately card. I say you'll notice immediately, I actually have 4 score immediately cards. I have Crushing Force, Too Dumb to Die, Call of the War, and Dead Cunning. And they all score immediately. I'm basically trying to cycle through the cards in this deck as quickly as I can. Crushing Force, if I deal twice as much damage, needs to take out the target out of action. I'm hoping I don't get that early in the game, because it'll be hard to score early in the game. Later in the game I might pick that one up. Too Dumb to Die, score this immediately if a friendly fighter suffers 3 or more damage in a single attack and is not taken out of action. I reckon that could easily happen against Orcs. Call of the War, score this immediately if 3 or more of your fighters made a charge action this phase. Again, I think that could easily happen. Quite an easy one to manipulate. And Dead Cunning, score this immediately if a friendly fighter has 2 more supporting fighters than their target when making an attack action. So I'm hoping to keep my Orcs together in this game and plough through Pete and see how we go. So hopefully I can pick up Dead Cunning. Then we go into the a couple that are worth 2, Brawl and Punch Up. Score this in an end phase if all friendly fighters, at least 3, are adjacent to enemy fighters. Again, I should be trying to keep mine together, trying to keep bring down Pete's Orruks one at a time with a couple of mine, keeping adjacency, get the Brawl. Punch Up, nearly didn't include Punch Up. It's in the beginning of the game, in a tough game, it's hard to score. Sorry, not in a tough game, in a low combat game, it's hard to score. Score this in an end phase if each of your surviving fighters, at least two, made an attack action against a different enemy fighter in the preceding action phase. This can be tricky when you've got 4 to try and get it against 4 different enemies, especially when that it will be all of the people on the pitch, when that'll be all of the people on the battlefield. But if I start to lose a couple, then Punch Up will suddenly become scoreable, and that's kind of in there as a backup. If things are going badly, then there's always a chance of grabbing Punch Up before I go down. Then I have a couple that I can control, is my plan. Geared for War, score this in an end phase if each of your surviving fighters has at least 1 upgrade. So then again, I can control that one. Bit easy to score if I've lost a man as well. Ploy Master, score this in end phase if you have 3 or more ploys in the preceding action phase. Very useful. Can get that one out yourself regardless of what your opponent does, more or less. And then the final 4 cards, I've gone for Divide and Conquer, Swift Advance, and Conquest. So the focus of this deck will be getting in Pete's half of the board to give me Conquest by the end phase, Swift Advance along the way, or maybe in the end phase as well, and Divide and Conquer if things are, in interim stages. Divide and Conquer could be handy if people are all over the place, so there's a chance of picking up Divide and Conquer. So that is what I've gone for those 3. And my final card, this Middle Student Virtue, notice that's only 11. The final card is Supremacy. Now I threw this in the last Orruk game to great effect, so I'm trying it again. Maybe Pete won't occur to me. Pete won't think that I would do it twice. I think with the Orruks, nobody's looking for it, and it's worth sticking in there. So we'll see how we go. And again, it gives you another alternative plan. If Pete well and truly got me contained, and I can't get into his half, then I might be able to pick up Supremacy. We shall see. So what ploys have I bought along the way to help me with that? I bought Healing Potion, because you almost always have to have Healing Potion. Brutal but Cunning, and Cunning but Brutal, 2 must-haves in the Orc deck to give you high mobility. Very useful those ones are. More Chopping, roll an extra dice for the first attack action in the next activation. Sidestep, so again for a bit of extra mobility, choose a friendly fighter and push them 1 hex. Confusion, to swap a couple of fighters over. Sprint, It might be handy for nabbing Supremacy or running into my opponent's half to get conquest. That's what I'm hoping. Illusory Fighter, place one of your fighters on the battlefield. Choose one of your fighters on the battlefield, place them on a starting hex in your territory. This could be useful if I have to run backwards and forwards. I kind of swapped this one in at the last minute. I kind of like the card. I put it in there. It may be useful, it may not be, but again, it gives you an out if the plans are not going as you expect them to. And then I've got Scragum. Each friendly fighter that supports the first attack action in the next activation is considered to be 2 supporting fighters, and Dual Strike, 1 fighter supporting the first action in the next activation is considered to be 2 supporting fighters. So they're 2 very, very similar cards there. I'm kind of hoping that I can manipulate those cards into helping me get my objective for the outnumbering the opponent on supporting figures, but all supporting fighters. But also, I'm hoping it'll give me an advantage if I can keep my men together over Pete in order to bring him down. So that's the focus of those ploys. So moving on to my upgrades, I've gone for some fairly standard ones. Great Fortitude for extra wounds. Legendary Swiftness in case I need somebody to move a bit quicker. Great Strength for some extra damage. And then a couple of cards that I think are beloved. I've got Demonic Weapon. I've just realised I made a mistake. I'll include this in here. I will swap it out for the final thing, so it'll be a bit of a surprise for you on the day. I've put Cursed Artifact in it. I always get confused. It's +1 defence, -1 wounds. But of course that doesn't do damage, so it won't inspire an Orc. I'm actually going to take that one out, so it'll be a surprise for you in the game. So I put Demonic Weapon. Each time this fighter makes an attack, they first suffer 1 damage. So they do actually suffer damage from that one, so that will inspire an Orc. So that's pretty meaty, that one. So that's my plan with that one. So just a quick, although it's not a complete deck now, but it will highlight the difference between -1 wounds and -1 damage for you. I've got Brutal Swing for Bone Cutter, which enables him to target adjacent enemy fighters. And then I've got Coordinated Attack. We're making this attack action roll an extra dice for each other friendly fighter adjacent to the target. Well, again, that's going to help me with support and such like. That's what I'm going to be aiming for. So that's why I thought I'd include that. Low Blow, both swords and hammers, symbols or attack successes for this attack action. Can use this to quite good effect with the Orruks because it doesn't make Hacker and Basher much more damage dealing, but it does make them more chances to hit and keep knocking back your opponents. And that's why I put that one in there. Shade Glass Darts, I do love this card, so I put it in. I think it's particularly good with Cunning but Brutal or Brutal but Cunning, because you can hit the people from 3 away and then move 3. So that's pretty handy, I can't remember which ploy it is. And one of them is, I think, is meaty with Shade Glass Darts. And Swift Strike, it's 3 swords. And then before this attack action, push this fighter 1 hex. Again, I put that on there for a bit of extra mobility to get into areas that I need to go to, capture that Supremacy objective, something like that. Is what that is in there for. So that is the deck. So with the exception of the fact that I've got to switch out my Cursed Artifact, that's what I shall be attacking Pete with in our next game. So I hope that was useful. Let me know what you'd include in your Orruk deck. It's a little bit, I haven't gone for Contained and Denial. I thought about going for Contained and Denial, but I think it's an obvious one, and I think Pete will be looking for it, so I haven't gone for it. I may regret that. We shall find out. So until next time, thank you for listening, and I shall see you soon. Bye.